What is up, guys? Rick Hackus here with a very interesting idea for Destiny. This is something that can be implemented at any time, either with the big Rise of Iron expansion or at any number of updates beyond that point, and it's something that I think would decently improve the game. Now, of course, if you agree with this idea, please remember to help spread the word by simply rating and especially sharing this video, even if it's just telling a friend. Now, this idea is actually the removal of some of the terrible perks in Destiny. Now, before we go on to talking about that idea specifically and why I think it would be a good idea and why it's important, we need to talk about Shot Package. Shot Package, once upon a time, was a perk that could spawn on shotguns. What Shot Package did is that it tightened the spread of the pellets of your shotgun shot and made one-shot kills a lot more likely. And this perk really just took over the Crucible. It was non-stop Felwinter's Lies, Matadors, and other powerful one-hit kill shotguns, always with Shot Package. That was the perk you were really looking out for, that and Rangefinder. Bungie felt that this was a little bit too much, and it went on to nerf Rangefinder a little bit and actually remove the Shot Package perk from the game. You can no longer get shotguns with Shot Package. And so that means the process of removing a perk from the game is possible. I had a Felwinter's Lie with Shot Package. I pretty much did have the God roll at the time. And after this update was installed and Shot Package was removed from the game, the slot of my Felwinter that had Shot Package just then got another different random perk. So the point of telling you guys about the story of Shot Package is that it's proof of concept for what I'm about to talk about. The removal of Shot Package and its replacement with just a random perk on existing guns. They didn't have to make the guns that have them just obsolete by removing them from the loot table. They didn't have to nerf it into oblivion. They just removed it from the game entirely. And again, it's proof of concept for what we're talking about next, which is, should we do that exact same thing? Should Bungie remove some of the terrible perks from the game? Because if you think about it, the reason that Bungie removed Shot Package from Destiny is that it impacted gameplay negatively. Too many people had it on their weapons and it was just too overbearing to play against. At least that's what Bungie felt. But isn't the same thing happening in the opposite end of the spectrum with the absolute terrible perks? A great example of one of these perks is Private Eye. Optical zoom length is increased when crouched. So an entire perk slot, one that could go to counterbalance, rangefinder, persistence, focus fire on an auto rifle, I'm looking at the answering chord possible spawns here, could go to something that gives you a little bit more zoom when you're crouched. And I've seen Hawksaws, a gun that is potentially amazing, spawn with Private Eye and it's just immediately thrown away. Private Eye is just the example of a terrible perk I'm using, but we all know those terrible perks. Exhumed is another one that no one is actively looking for with their weapon rolls. I have never ever seen someone using Private Eye on purpose in a competitive environment. You just don't see it. If you have every other perk amazing and it spawns with Private Eye, you might keep that weapon, but otherwise it's a complete waste of a perk slot. And therefore, isn't it kind of impacting gameplay negatively if it's a perk that no one wants to get, that everyone is looking for better things? Why is it still in the game? The only purpose of this perk is to make your roll less good. Therefore, I think, again, it's negatively impacting gameplay. Someone who has this as a perk is going to be at a disadvantage versus someone who has Rangefinder or Counterbalance or an actually good perk. So again, the question comes up, should we remove this? Should we remove Private Eye and the few other just terrible perks that no one likes to use on their weapons from the game? It is possible, and Bungie did it successfully with Shot Package, so again, should they do it again, this time with the opposite end of the spectrum of perk power? I actually think they should, and if Bungie did the exact same thing they did with Shot Package, and that would mean that guns with Private Eye, for example, would just randomly have the other perks in the game, so Glass Half Full, Hipfire, all of that stuff, that would definitely be a benefit to the game, removing some of the worst perks you can get from the loot table, and that's just going to make it so that when you're getting weapons as rewards, when you're, rolling your guns, they actually just have an increased percentage to be competitive and for you to actually utilize that weapon, and therefore it's going to make the loot in the game better and more desirable. If you remove the worst possible end of what that loot could be, it's just naturally going to become a little bit better, a little bit more competitive, a little bit more desirable. However, I would actually prefer if Bungie went one step further, and instead of just removing a terrible perk, they replaced it. Take out some of the worst perks in the game, but add new perks. The Rise of Iron will be out shortly. It will be the last big expansion for Destiny, and it is bringing a lot of content, it looks like, to the game, and it's going to stay relevant for a long time. But again, it is the last big expansion until all the way next year of fall 2017, to which Destiny 2 is supposed to release. And again, that's if everything goes right. It is entirely possible that Destiny 2 gets delayed and we have to wait even further. Therefore, what's going to be keeping Destiny players busy is updates. Hopefully updates of the quality of the April update, which I think was fantastic, really gave Destiny a breath of fresh air, and hopefully they do more updates like that. However, if they do those updates, something that they should definitely look at is adding new weapon perks. Adding new weapon perks to the game massively increases the gameplay possibilities. Just by adding one new perk, that is absolutely huge for Destiny's replayability and longevity, because Destiny players are now going to have to go out and try that new perk with all of the different weapon types it can spawn on, pulse rifles, scout rifles, auto rifles, etc., and its combinations with the other existing perks in the game. Again, the possibility for gameplay diversification, if they do that, is absolutely huge, and that would be a huge step forward for extending our game time with Destiny. I think perks in Destiny have definitely been a bit of a sore spot for this game. There's a few very good perks and the rest are total trash. They're either okay and you just accept it if you get other good perks, or you're just deleting 99% of your weapons trying to get very similar rolls no matter which weapons you're using. There's a lot of different things Bungie could do to remedy this. Introduce new, good perks into the game, rework perks, going in and changing, for example, something like Casket Mag, which increases your magazine size but reduces stability, which no one in their right mind would ever use. Rework that so it increases magazine size but lowers range or lowers stability by a much smaller margin, and then people might actually look at Casket Mag as a usable perk. And thankfully, it looks like Bungie actually agrees with me. They are taking a look at some of the worst perks in the game and remaking them. An example is Take a Knee. Right now, all it does is that it gives you bonus accuracy when you crouch, and no one really uses this perk. They're actually remaking this perk, and as you can see, it now gives you reduced aim time and flinch under fire. So again, they're looking to remake some of the perks in the game. That's absolutely fantastic. That's exactly what I've been talking about in today's video, and I hope they continue to do that throughout Destiny's lifespan. But something else that they could do, and again why I made this video, is remove some of the worst, some of the poorly designed perks in the game. Because again, Bungie removed Shot Package because it kind of agreed, it looked at itself and said, this perk is designed poorly. Everyone is using it, it's just too overbearing. But perks can be designed poorly in the opposite direction, perks that are totally useless. If they have went to the step of removing a poorly designed perk, do it again with the other end of the spectrum. Now, that's going to be it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, if you agree with this idea, please help spread the word. Now, if you want to see more Destiny content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickHackis. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day. One of the things I love to do when we get one of these streams, a gameplay reveal or something of the like, is I love to comb over the footage and analyze the new weapons and armor being added with this new content. And that's because I love the weapons and armor in Destiny. I'm a huge collector and it really interests me. So I'm bringing that to you guys today. I've combed over the footage and we're going to analyze some of the new armor sets, some of the new weapons, and even some new exotics being added with the Rise of Iron.